Okay, let's dive in. We often talk about greatness, right? But what does that actually truly mean, especially in a world that seems, well, pretty obsessed with ambition, status, always getting ahead?
That's exactly the big question we're tackling today. Is it about climbing the ladder? Or is there maybe something deeper, maybe even a bit counterintuitive going on?
Right. So for this deep dive, we've got a really interesting mix of sources.
We do. Some ancient texts, some more contemporary reflections, but they all kind of circle around these themes. Humble service, true leadership, and maybe a surprising path to, lasting fulfillment.
And these sources, especially gathered around the time traditionally linked to St. James the Apostle, they really challenge our standard ideas about power and success, don't they?
Absolutely. They push back hard against the conventional wisdom.
So our mission then is to unpack this. We're digging for those nuggets of wisdom that might just redefine what it means to have a real impact.
You might find that leadership, real leadership, maybe looks less like sitting on a throne.
And more like picking up a towel.
Exactly. And how going through tough times, enduring hardship, can actually lead to, paradoxically, this deep, real joy. We're looking for what makes things truly significant in the long run.
Okay, so where do we start? What's the first piece?
Let's jump right into a pretty dramatic scene from the Gospel of Matthew. It really sets the stage for rethinking greatness.
Ah, okay. I think I know the one. Is this with the mother of James and John?
That's the one. She comes up to Jesus, and she's got a very specific request. Very bold.
Yeah, she asks for her sons to get the top spots in his kingdom, right? One on his right, one on his left. Talk about aiming high.
It's the ultimate power play, isn't it? Asking for the seats of highest honor and prestige.
But Jesus' response is immediate and, well, kind of sobering.
It is. He says straight out, "You do not know what you were asking." And then he hits them with this question. Can you drink the chalice that I am going to drink?
And that word chalice, it doesn't sound like a celebration here.
Not at all. It's heavy. It's widely understood as a symbol for suffering, for intense difficulty, hardship. He's basically saying, this path you think leads to glory involves something you haven't factored in.
And the sons, maybe a bit naive or just eager, they say.
We can. They jump right in.
Yeah, and Jesus acknowledges they will share that hardship, that chalice. But then he clarifies something crucial about those top spots.
Right. He says, look, those positions aren't mine to just give away like party favors. They're for those prepared by God.
And then the reaction of the other disciples, that's really telling, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. The other 10, they hear about this request and they get indignant. They're upset.
Which shows that this desire for status, for being number one, it wasn't just James and John and their mom. It was, well, pretty human. It was running through the whole group.
Exactly. That shared ambition, that indignation, it becomes the perfect teaching moment for Jesus.
So what does he do?
He calls them all together, and he lays it out very clearly. He says, you know how it works in the world, right? Rulers, the great ones, they dominate. They make sure everyone feels their authority.
That's the standard leadership model we see everywhere, even today.
But then he says, but it shall not be so among you. Total contrast.
Okay, so what's the alternative?
He tells them, rather, whoever wishes to be great among you shall be your servant. Whoever wishes to be first among you shall be your slave.
Wow. Servant, slave, that's radical. It completely flips the script on power.
It's the direct challenge to every worldly power structure. Greatness isn't about being served. It's about serving. First place isn't about ruling. It's about becoming like a slave for the benefit of others.
And he doesn't just say it, he lives it. The passage ends with his own example, right?
Precisely. Just so, the Son of Man did not come to be served, but to serve.
And to give his life as a ransom for many. That's the ultimate act of service, giving everything for others. It really anchors the whole teaching.
It really does. And, this teaching connects so powerfully to another source we looked at, a reflection called Humble Service and Joyful Leadership.
Okay, how does that piece pick up this thread?
Well, it directly echoes Matthew, stating flat out that true greatness lies not in being served, but in serving others. It takes that core message and brings it forward.
So it's really hammering home this idea of a fundamental shift. That urge for status, for recognition, the thing we saw in the disciples, it has to give way to something else.
Exactly. To humility and what it calls sacrificial love. It's a different kind of motivation altogether.
Which really pushes against, say, a lot of modern ideas of success where impact is often measured by how visible you are, how much authority you have.
Right. This suggests true impact might actually come from the quiet work,
Yeah.
laying down our own pride, as the reflection puts it, specifically to lift other people up.
Leading by example, then. But it's an active choice, it sounds like.
Very much so. And interestingly, the reflection emphasizes choosing this path joyfully.
Joyfully, even when it involves service or sacrifice.
Yeah. It even draws on a line from Psalm 100. Serve the Lord with gladness. Come before him with joyful songs. So the joy isn't necessarily that the task itself is always pleasant.
But maybe the joy comes from the purpose behind it, the connection, the meaning.
I think that's exactly it. The joy is found in the why behind the service.
That's a powerful link. Service with gladness. And the reflection makes it practical too, doesn't it? Posing a question for us.
It does. It asks basically, what act of humble service can I offer today? It brings this whole big idea right down to earth, makes it actionable for you, the listener, right now.
Okay, so we have greatness redefined as service, ideally joyful service. What's next? Where does this path lead?
Well, building on that, another source, this one from a letter by the Apostle Paul to the church in Corinth, introduces another paradox. It talks about strength, but finding it in weakness.
Strength and weakness, how does that work?
Paul uses this really vivid image. He says, we hold this treasure in earthen vessels.
Earthen vessels, like clay pots, fragile things.
Exactly. Simple, breakable, everyday containers. And the point is that the surpassing power inside this treasure is clearly from God, not from us, the fragile pots holding it.
So our weaknesses, our limitations, our, cracks, they don't disqualify us.
Quite the opposite. They actually serve to highlight that the power at work isn't just our own human effort. It manifests through our fragility.
That's a really countercultural idea. We usually try to hide our weaknesses, look strong all the time.
We do. But Paul gets very specific about the kinds of difficulties this involves. He lists things like being afflicted but not constrained, perplexed but not driven to despair, persecuted but not abandoned, struck down but not destroyed.
So it's acknowledging real hardship, real suffering. It's not pretending it doesn't happen.
Not at all. It's about endurance within the hardship. It's saying, yes, these things happen, we get knocked down, but we're not ultimately crushed or abandoned. There's a resilience that comes from something beyond us.
Okay, so we endure. But is there a deeper purpose to going through these things, according to Paul?
Yes, and this is where it gets really profound. He talks about always caring about in the body the dying of Jesus, so that the life of Jesus may also be manifested in our body.
Okay, unpack that a little. Caring about the dying of Jesus. What does that mean practically?
It's this idea that our own struggles, our sacrifices, the ways we are brought low or have to let go of our own strength or ego, that dying process within us actually creates space for something else. It allows this deeper life, this divine life, to become visible through us, offered for the benefit of others.
So my struggle isn't just my struggle. It can somehow serve a purpose for the community, for others.
That seems to be exactly the point. Paul reinforces it. So death is at work in us, but life in you. Our hardship can somehow generate life or strength for others.
Wow. That puts service in a different light again. It's not just doing tasks, it's potentially offering our own vulnerability for the good of the whole.
Precisely. He concludes, everything indeed is for you, meaning for the community, so that the grace bestowed may cause the thanksgiving to overflow. It's this outward-facing self-giving. My death, my struggle leads to your life, your benefit, which leads to more gratitude overall.
Okay, that's heavy, but also hopeful. It gives meaning to hardship.
It does. And that theme of hope emerging from difficulty brings us really nicely to our final threads, particularly from Psalm 126.
Psalm 126. That one has that beautiful line.
Those who sow in tears shall reap rejoicing.
Yes. That captures it perfectly. After talking about chalices and fragile vessels and dying, the promise of rejoicing.
Exactly. The psalm itself remembers a time of restoration after exile, after deep suffering, the captives of Zion returning, and it describes their sheer joy. Our mouth was filled with laughter, and our tongue with rejoicing. It's this explosion of relief and happiness after pain.
So joy isn't just the absence of suffering, it can actually be the result of going through it and coming out the other side.
That's the feeling, yes. And the central metaphor there is agricultural, isn't it? Sowing and reaping.
Right. Although they go forth weeping, carrying the seed to be sown.
They shall come back rejoicing, carrying their sheaves.
So the sowing is the hard part, the service, the enduring, the sacrifice. Maybe done with tears?
That's the image. It takes effort. It might be painful. You might not see results right away. It's like planting seed in difficult soil. Maybe uncertain if it will grow.
But the promise is the harvest, the rejoicing, the sheaves. the abundance that comes later.
Yes, the fruit of that difficult labor, which connects beautifully to a line from the Gospel of John that our sources also highlight.
What's that?
Jesus says, "I chose you to go and bear fruit that will last."
Fruit that lasts. So it's not just about a momentary feeling of accomplishment, but about an enduring impact. The result of that tearful sowing, that humble service, that strength in weakness, it's meant to last.
It ties all these themes together, doesn't it? The redefinition of greatness as service, finding strength through vulnerability, and the ultimate outcome being not just personal joy, but lasting, fruitful impact for others.
So wrapping this all up, it seems the core message across these sources is this profound paradox.
It really is. Greatness isn't where we usually look for it. It's found in humility, in service.
And strength isn't about being invincible. It actually shows up most powerfully through our acknowledged weakness, our earthen vessels.
And finally, deep, lasting joy, that real rejoicing. It often comes only after we've walked through difficulty, after we've sown in tears.
It definitely challenges us to rethink what we're chasing, doesn't it? What we truly value as success or fulfillment.
It asks us to look beyond, maybe, the immediate rewards of status or ease, and consider the deeper, quieter impact of a life rooted in service and resilience.
So as you, our listener, reflect on all this, here's something to maybe mull over, a final thought.
Building on those images we discussed, the chalice and sowing in tears.
What chalice might you be called to drink in your own life right now? What difficult thing might you need to face? Or what seeds might you need to sow, perhaps with tears, maybe through service that feels hard or unnoticed?
Yeah, what commitment, what relationship, what task requires that kind of sacrificial effort from you today?
Not just for your own growth, though that might happen, but with the hope, the trust that it might bring forth lasting fruit and eventually, perhaps surprisingly, deep rejoicing. Maybe not just for you, but for others too. Something to think about.